Okay, this is the break mark drill. This drill is literally just throwing break throws. We're not worrying about defense for this one. We're not worrying about cutters as much. We're not trying to get hand blocks. We're just trying to throw break throws. The flow cycle you want to remember for this one, with no particular starting point, is mark, throw, cut, and clear. You'll need 2 cones and at least 4 discs. Okay, so we're going to start with an around flick. So the discs will start at the front of the stack up here. With someone in the line putting on a mark, will force them backhand first if you're right-handed. It's the opposite if you're left-handed. And then the first cutter, let's just say this person will come down the break side, kind of 70%, and then the first thrower will throw their around flick, just trying to get it around the mark. And then once this cutter catches it, they'll clear to the back of the line. And then as soon as this thrower got their flick off, they will fake to the lane and come down this break side, at which point this thrower will throw their around flick and so forth, and clearing to the back. And then after you mark, you'll get the next disc you'll be throwing next, and the next person in line will come and mark you. Do 2 cycles, I guess, of each throw. So the first one was the around flick. And then after everyone's kind of thrown it twice, if you don't have as many people, you can do a few more cycles of that. But then you're going to switch it to an IO backhand, so it's the same mark, but this time you're throwing the IO backhand, and it's the same cut. The thrower will come this way, and it's the same cut. And then once you do 2 cycles of that, you'll switch the mark. So you'll go. It's going to be an around backhand this time. So you'll force flick. The mark will come this way. Whoever's marking at the time. I guess I didn't have to move those dots like that, but. Force flick, and then it'll be an around backhand first, and then 2 cycles of that, and then IO flick. The only kind of focus points here is, for the marks, you're just setting the mark. Don't lose your footing trying to get a hand block. We're just trying to set up the sort of positioning so that it's hard enough for the thrower to try and have to work for it. But we don't want to disrupt constructive growth by trying to because if you lose your footing on your mark, then they really could have just thrown an IO or a 4-side or something like that. So you just kind of want to set them up for success and just let the throw get off, but don't make it too easy. And then for the throwers, you're going to want to step out. Especially if it's an around. So in this case, if it was the around backhand, step out around your mark. Kind of that way. You want to step out and get it around. Try to do a low release if you can, just because if you release it higher, it's going to hang, it's going to float, and it's easier for a defender to run up on that and defend it. So that's about it. Just try and use pump fakes if you want to, especially if you are a handler and you're going to be handling this season, or if you intend to at any point. Really start working on your pump fakes, but everyone can work on that. Just throw a fake in the opposite direction. So if you're trying to throw an around backhand, maybe throw a flick side, either a 4-side or an IO. You could throw the IO fake and then get the backhand out, because that's probably how you're going to open up space in a real game anyway.